Did WBC light heavyweight champion Bernard Hopkins fake an injury to avoid losing to Chad Dawson last year? That's what Dawson's saying. That and more coming up on the Ryan O'Hara Network. This episode is brought to you by Gatorade 01 Prime. So first, before we get into this, I'd like to tell you that I totally believe that Chad Dawson is full of crap. Dawson, of course, being Mr. Marijuana Man himself, lost to Jean Pascal. That was his first defeat of his career. And Hopkins beat Jean Pascal, become the oldest man to hold a belt. So that sort of talk from Dawson is kind of stupid in my opinion. I don't see how boxing fans don't see that Dawson is full of himself here. Hopkins is a legend, and he didn't fake an injury whatsoever. And according to the doctor, Hopkins tore the AC joint in his shoulder, which is incredibly painful, by the way. I don't think Dawson has ever experienced some sort of pain, and through 2 rounds of boxing, that's not a fight. So hopefully we see a better fight coming up. But anyway, back to the news. Chad Dawson says Hopkins faked an injury to avoid a lopsided defeat last October and plans to pick off where he left off in a world light heavyweight title rematch next week. Hopkins, boxing's oldest ever champion at age 47, defends his World Boxing Council crown on April 28th at Atlantic City in a rematch bout that ended in round 2 when Dawson lifted Hopkins by the leg and slammed into the canvas. That obviously was a foul from Dawson. So, not the biggest fan of him right now. The fight was halted with Hopkins suffering a left shoulder dislocation. Referee Pat Russell awarded the fight to Dawson, saying no foul was committed, but the result was overturned to no decision and a title rematch ordered. Dawson, 30-1 with 17 knockouts, says he could tell in the ring that Hopkins wanted no part of the 29-year-old U.S. Southpaw 6 months ago. Now I don't see how you can tell during 2 rounds. Quote, I don't really believe Bernard Hopkins was hurt. He showed he didn't really want to be in the ring with me. I looked in Bernard's eyes that night. He didn't want to be in the ring with me. Maybe he undertrained. Maybe he underestimated me. Either way, I'm here. I'm for real, and I'm coming to fight. Quote, I was pressing the fight. Bernard didn't show any sign he wanted to fight until the fight was over. I wanted to pick up right where I left off, be the aggressor, and take the fight to him. I hope Bernard comes to fight. Hopkins, 52-5 with 2 drawn and 32 knockouts, said that Dawson can think whatever he likes, that he has made no future plans beyond his next fight at this point. Quote, I'm not going to get into a dog and cat fight. There ain't too much for me to say. It's about what I do. Right now I want to beat Chad Dawson. We'll see what the future holds after I beat Chad Dawson. Hopkins' motivation for a rematch came into question, with promoter Richard Schaefer saying Hopkins wanted the challenge, and Dawson promoter Kerry Shaw saying the mandated title rematch forced his hand. Quote, without the belt, he's just an old fighter. Dawson said Hopkins had little choice. Quote, I guess it's all about his legacy. If that was him, I wouldn't want to go out on a bad note like that, ducking somebody. Hopkins gave a simpler reason. Quote, because I'm a legend. Among several rants on Tuesday about his career, saying that even if he beats Dawson, some will diminish the feat. Quote, look for an excuse when it's all said and done. Hopkins railed against boxing politics that kept him from fighting for more than a year after a 2008 upset victory over Kelly Pavlik at Atlantic City and the desire to promote younger fighters that he keeps beating. Quote, maybe Bernard Hopkins is just better than a generation. They just don't want to give me the credit. Quote, I believe I'm the most underrated fighter that ever laced on a pair of gloves and reached the level I've reached in my 24-year career, and that's the motivation for me to keep proving who I am. Dawson gives full respect for all that Hopkins has accomplished, but plans on leaving no doubt as to who is the better fighter this time, possibly by inflicting the first knockout defeat of Hopkins' career. Quote, that would be a big statement to make due to the fact that he has never been knocked out before. I can't say I'm going in looking for the knockout. Quote, if it goes 12 rounds, I want to win 11 of those 12 rounds. I don't want to be in there to be any there. What the heck? I don't want there to be any this or that. I don't want even a close fight. I want to beat him decisively. I still don't see Dawson beating him. I understand that Dawson's a younger fighter. However, Dawson is the guy that decided, I'm not going to fight young fighters at this point. I'm going to fight Glenn Johnson. I'm going to fight Antonio Tarver. Now he's fighting another old guy. He's fighting Bernard Hopkins. And what's happened? Nothing. And the only young fighter that he's faced is Jean Pascal, and he lost to Jean Pascal. And Hopkins beat Jean Pascal. And Hopkins has beat pretty much anybody he's ever faced, except Calzaghe, but we all know that it was a robbery. We all know Hopkins took him to school. Hopkins is a legend. Dawson is nothing. Dawson has to prove in the ring that he can win decisively and well win fairly if you want to put it that way. But I see Hopkins coming out with the decision, and I think he'll retire after this fight. That's my opinion. You know, yeah. I hope we see a good fight. I mean, from what we've seen recently with the corruption in boxing and bad scorecards and whatnot, and just terrible decisions. I'm really hoping that this is something that will lead to something good for boxing, because recently Rios, the Marquez Pacquiao debacle, this is Mayweather Ortiz. It's just been a joke lately for boxing, and quite honestly, a lot of people are sick of it. But anyway, please click on the ads. It will give the account money, and that would really help me. And if you guys do that, I'll do the same for you. Alright, thank you. Enjoy your night.